Whiskey, Echo, Whiskey, Bravo, Alpha, Delta.
If you hear that sound, that means you are not just a normal crew member. It means you're an antagonist. You are a Syndicate agent who is sent here to complete objectives, and in general, you're just an enemy of Nanotressin. However, in order to complete your objectives, you're going to need items, which syndicates get 20 telecrystals, your money, to buy. So to even be able to buy items, you first access your PDA, you just open it up, then you go to settings, and in your settings, there's an uplink button. And I encourage you all to check through the menus and look through them. No one can see you using this menu. There's like nothing my character's doing that's conspicuous. There's no sounds to it. Like no one will know you have an uplink just for you being in the uplink. However, there are some items in here that are not inherently clear of what they do. And some of them have somewhat hidden use cases. So I'm going to explain as many as I can and explain the ones I think are important. I'm not going to explain them all because that would take quite a while. And the best way I know how to do it is just to get started. So by default, you have 20 telecrystals. But however, if you find more, aka you kill another syndicate, you can take the telecrystals out of their PDA and you can put them in yours. So all you do is if you find telecrystals, you just pick them up and you left click them on your PDA and you'll see your TC count goes up. It's just like a bank. Now that you figured out how to add telecrystals, you can also withdraw them and you can just type in the amount or slide it to withdraw as many as you want. If you're working with somebody else. And I'll just go through them through category, through tabs as I find important. The surplus rifle. The surplus rifle is the cheapest gun you can buy. It is a piece of garbage, for lack of better words. It is bolt action. It doesn't fire on its own, meaning you have to press Z after every bullet to cycle it. It is loud, very slow fire rate, and if you look at the bullets, it only does 19 damage a shot. Meaning against an unarmored full health target, you have to shoot them 6 times to kill them. And since it's a syndicate weapon, if you're using it and somebody like security arrests you, you just got caught with contraband, and that could get you in jail forever. But it is extremely cheap, and you can roleplay your 1800s, late 1800s Russian roleplay if you want, I guess. It could be World War I, because it's basically just a Mosin. I mean, it literally is a Mosin. Anyways, down the weapons tab, the Energy Dagger. The Energy Dagger, by default, has the same description as a pen. It just looks like a pen. And in the world, it's just a pen. However, if you pick it up, press Z, it is a miniature lightsaber. It swings fairly quick. But due to its damage typing, it isn't like the best weapon for breaking walls, because it actually just doesn't hurt them. It barely hurts anything in that regard concerning structures. But for killing things like Sistu Renault, for example, the Energy Dagger has 2 big benefits. It doesn't make any like extra loud sound. And one benefit to the E-Dagger is that it has the sharp component. So when something's dead, you can right click the animal you're trying to butcher and butcher it. And Renault specifically, use this as an extra example, Renault actually has 5 telecrystals inside him. You can use that to buy more things. And another useful note about the pen is that in your PDA, if you right click it and eject, you actually have a normal pen. You could put the energy pen in your PDA, and that could let you easily hide it, because I have never seen a security officer random check for PDA slot pens, and if they do, it's just really uncommon. Anyway, down the list, the Energy Sword. The Energy Sword is just the Energy Pen's bigger brother. Much louder, does a ton of damage a swing, and attacks very fast, as you can see. And if you heavy swing, you do some blunt damage, but you can actually break the grills through the glass. That isn't really its primary purpose. Its primary purpose is that you can attack and kill people with it very quickly, and there's not really much more else I have to explain. Very loud, and when it's not deployed, you can actually fit it in your pocket because it's quite small, but don't use this thing if it's not turned on. And it's super loud, so you're probably going to get caught with it. And now on to the rest of the guns. The Viper. The Viper is 35 auto pistol caliber. It comes with 11 shots, so 10 magazine, 1 in the chamber. And it has a pretty decent fire rate. Almost as fast as you can click. So it's basically a mag dumper. Each bullet does 16 damage, so it takes quite a few shots to kill an unarmored target, and shooting a security officer will take a considerable amount of shots. But if you're very accurate, just for example, I'll go into the uplink. So since it is the 35... Oops, wrong button. Since it is a 35 auto pistol, if you go into the ammo caliber, you can buy additional magazines for only 2 TC each. And you can reload it pretty quickly. And as you can see, 10 shots left because it comes with 1 in the chamber. And for just the price of 6 TC and 2 TC for reloads, you could have quite a lot of ammo if you want to go the route of just buying a gun and having a bunch of backup ammo. And just for an example of the gun's capabilities, and with 10 shots, keep in mind that security officers are quite armored, and that even mag dumping a security officer with a Cobra will not be enough to even crit them if they're full health. It actually barely even does half their health. So don't go mag dumping security with it and expecting to just get free kills. It is not that strong. Down to the next gun, the Cobra, or sorry, the Python, the revolver, and it doesn't shoot all that fast. Definitely not as fast as you can click your mouse, but it is a 7-shot revolver, and unfortunately, the revolver only does 22 damage a shot, so it really isn't any better. Like, it isn't much better than the Viper. You have less damage per mag. It shoots slower. It's louder. It's... I'm not trying to give advice, really, in this video, but it's... As of right now, it's just a terrible purchase. There's no reason to buy this. Like, the Viper is just the better option. I mean, like, it's cool for roleplay scenarios. Revolvers are cool. But even still, if you want to buy an ammo for it, you have to buy a speed loader. And the speed loader, once again, only comes with 7 bullets instead of 10. And that's still less damage per mag. And it's, you know, worse gun. Anyway, enough about stats. On to the Cobra. The Cobra is a suppressed pistol, and it has the unique trait of it uses caseless ammo, but it also it shoots slower than the Viper, but way faster than the Predator, and it's fairly quiet, but not all that quiet despite being suppressed. But the benefit of the Cobra, you don't leave any casings where you're done shooting, but the magazine is still a magazine. So, and for the Cobra, you can also, once again, buy ammo for it through the ammo tab, and you just buy the 35 auto ammo, and it even tells you it's compatible with it. And I forgot the box of the 30 rifle magazines, but the cool thing about this is that it comes with magazines of ammo that don't fit in the Mosin, but you can, since it's the same caliber, you can take the magazine and spam click it to keep the Mosin filled with ammo. And as you see, you get the box comes with 6 magazines of 30 rifle bullets, which means it comes with 180 extra bullets for the Mosin at the price of just 2 TC. So you essentially have unlimited ammo for the Mosin. So that's a interesting possibility there, but you're going to have a really hard time killing people with this. Okay. Last but not least in the weapons is the Fire Axe. The Fire Axe is absolutely formidable and a terrifying weapon. Unwielded, it does 5 blunts, 13 slash, and 7 structural, and what structural means is that it does a ton of damage to building pieces. It also acts as a crowbar, so you can pry open doors and rip up tiles with it. However, if you press Z with the Fire Axe, you wield it, and the damage goes way up to 23.5 slash and 7 blunt and 67 structural. It also has a hidden stat where it sets people ablaze. If you hit them a few times, they will completely engulf. And just to show you just how strong this is at destroying structures, look at this reinforced wall. 1 hit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 hits destroys a reinforced wall, and then 1 more for the girder. You can basically get anywhere you want in the station in a few clicks. Like reinforced windows, 4 clicks, you're in. Security is breached. It is a 10 TC cost. It is one of the most dangerous weapons in the game, and you can easily break in anywhere that you want. Onwards and upwards. So we have gone through the weapons and ammos categories. Let's go into the fun explosives. Explosives. There are currently 6 things in the explosives category, and flashbangs are, I guess they do explode. C4. C4 has a very interesting property. C4, you could arm it and throw it like a grenade. So you press Z by default to arm it, and like you could just leave it under like a security officer's body. But C4 is primarily used to breach walls and stuff. And it can be used as a pseudo grenade. I mean, it does break quite a lot of tiles around it when placed or just dropped on the ground like that. But another thing you can do with TC, or with C4, is you can left click on something and it will accurately plant the bomb on wherever you want. So like a window like that. And by default, the timer is 10 seconds. But when it's planted like so, it's a bit more of a controlled explosion, and like you can use it to breach a wall and walk away, and you don't have to worry about the explosion like not working correctly. And just real quick, just to keep it pointed out, you can right click on the C4 and you can toggle its activation. So like you can make it so it no longer toggles when you plant it. So like I can plant on this window, but since I toggled its activation, I'm not going to explain every advanced tactic. Now it won't explode automatically when planted, so you can use that for some pretty creative stuff. And you can also change the timer on it. If you buy another one, you can set the timer to like 300 seconds and activate and throw it. And the fun thing about that is that when you set a C4 to that long of a timer, people will pick it up and like try to throw it away. So like it's kind of like a hot potato game. Flashbangs are flashbangs, but I'll show you real quick. You just buy it, press Z to activate it, and after the timer goes off, anyone without sunglasses or security HUD will be blinded. They will be slowed considerably and not be able to see anything. The explosive grenade is a grenade that is small but has a devastating explosion. Same thing, you buy it, and the only thing you can do to it is press Z. You can't change the timer. The timer by default is only 3.5 seconds, so you activate it and drop it. It has no ticking sound, and it causes a massive area explosion, and it does a ton of damage. The Grenade Penguin is another really interesting one, because you buy it, and it goes in your hand, and its timer is set to 10 seconds, but it has 2 uses. So like you could just press Q and drop it, and by default, it will bite anyone that isn't a Syndicate agent, so like it won't attack me. But it won't explode if I don't either press Z to activate it, which will set its 10-second timer, or if it dies, it'll explode. So if I press Z and just chuck it at the officer, it will literally keep biting him over and over again until the timer goes off, and it doesn't have any beeping or anything, and explodes. And the Grenade Penguin actually rips up floor tiles and does an absolute ton of damage to anyone caught in the radius. And due to the fact that it can't actually attack you, if you're in an area that isn't already spaced, it's actually a pretty good bomb because it's basically a homing bomb, and it's only one more TC than an explosive grenade. And due to its recent buff, it's actually a really good choice. The Minibomb is basically the biggest bomb that you can buy right now. And like the other ones, it can't have its timer changed, and by default it's a 10-second timer like the grenade penguin. But it has a very obvious beeping. It's a very distinct beeping. But this Minibomb is great at destroying blocks, killing people, gibbing people. And like the other one, it will leave a massive hole in the floor and spaced area. And just to show you one of the best use cases of the Minibomb is gibbing people. So like you could just drop a Minibomb on their corpse, and if they're dead, they are practically guaranteed to be gibbed. And they are gone. Syndicate Soap. It's basically just a bar of soap, but you'll slide further from it, and it'll keep you stunned a little bit longer. It is basically a mega soap that you can buy, and for 1 TC, actually a pretty dangerous option. You can make some pretty interesting plays with it. The Decoy Nuke Disc is literally just a plastic nuke disc that has the exact same description as a nuke disc. You could leave it in plate. Like if the captain leaves the nuke disc in their locker, you could take it in Indiana Jones and put a fake one in there. Some captain might fall for it. It's a 1 TC item. It's pretty funny. The extra bright lantern is just a lantern that when turned on acts as a flash. Not a flashbang, just a flash. And doesn't really have much use beyond that. It's basically just a 2 TC flash. The Syndicate Smokes Pack is a interesting one. It's a pack of cigarettes that comes with 6 cigarettes, and inside is 10 units of Omnizine. And Omnizine basically heals all the combat damages. So you can just take a lighter and smoke the cigarette. And you could easily just put all the cigarettes in your backpack and ditch the box and no one have any idea that you're smoking medicine. But this could help you avoid, or you could buy this to heal yourself when medical is too busy, or like you don't want to give yourself away. There's a lot of uses for it. The Cybersun Pen is just a 3 TC pen. It does 15 pierce damage, so it's actually a fairly decent melee weapon. But the problem is it's pierce damage, and pierce damage really isn't that great, because the people that are going to be fighting you are probably going to be wearing armor as a syndicate, and they have pierce resistance. But like the other one, you can hide it in your PDA, so it's a little pocket weapon, if anything. The Nocturine bottle, I'll buy it, but it has no use on its own. Like, if you sip it, 10 units of it, it will knock you out. But the main use for Nocturine, I'll show you in a moment. The Syndicate Segway spawns a giant box with keys and the Segway. And the Segway is a vehicle that you buy that has very fast movement speed, good friction control, and I mean, it just gives you good mobility. But once again, it makes you super obvious that you just bought it because it's a Syndicate Segway, and every single person that looks at it will instantly know that it's a Syndicate item. So out of miscellaneous into bundles, this is where some choices come into play. So by default, you have 20 TC. Some syndicates gamble their entire round away. So you can buy the surplus crate, which has 50 telecrystals worth of completely random items for the cost of 20. And if you look through the bundles, look at all these bundles. They cost 25, 30, 40. Well, you can't get another surplus, or yeah, 40. You could get items that you couldn't even possibly afford in this box, or you might get a bunch of crap. So let's open it up, and you can see, if you right-click it, you can view everything. And in this one, I actually managed to get 2 fire axes, so that's already 20 TC worth. Don't know why you need to. And the other useful things that are in here is the agent cards. I'll explain them in order. But as you can see, you just get a ton of crap. And sometimes it's useful. And like, I could buy a few more. Here's 3 more. And like, this one is not very good. Actually, it's alright. That's not bad. But they can range from really good to not very good at all. It's a pretty mixed bag, but it is pretty fun to just have variety. Okay, But to the other bundles. The C-20 bundle, which costs 25 TC, which means you have to kill Renault and not spend any TC to be able to buy this. It comes with the C-20 machine gun with a magazine in it, and 2 extra magazines giving you 90 total bullets. The C-20 is kind of a staple SMG. Nukies are going to commonly use this because it shoots very straight, has very little bullet delay, and it hits 16 units of damage, pierce, and due to its fire rate, is rather useful at killing targets. Another option is the Bulldog Bundle. Once again, it will always appear in your hand or at your feet. It is a Bulldog that comes with 1 lethal mag in it, and a mag of beanbags by default, or just by default. It comes with a lethal mag in it, and it's a shotgun. It's actually automatic, it just has a somewhat slow fire rate. But with beanbags, if you swap the gun out to the beanbags, it's surprisingly good at just like stunning people. Like 2 shots and it stuns them for like 8 or 10 seconds. Like it's a long time. But once again, it is 25 TC, so something you have to invest in, obviously. Next is the China Lake Bundle, and it gives you a grenade launcher with 8 different shots, and it comes with 3 in it, so you actually have 11 shots. Because it's hard to see, I'll rebuy the bundle. And so by default, the China Lake has 3 frag grenades in it, and a frag grenade has a huge explosion radius and can frequently space the ground, but it doesn't do quite as much damage as a blast round. A blast round does even more damage, but the explosion effect isn't quite as big, but it can still space areas. Basically, there's not too much of a difference between the grenades, but there is one. After the China Lake Bundle, the last bundle other than the Super Surplus, which I guess I can also show you, but it's just the surplus crate, but with a bigger profit margin. And as you can see, this one literally came with 2 other gun bundles, and just it's an insane amount of items that it comes with. Is the L6 bundle, which costs 40 TC, so even if you killed another Syndicate, you would get the L6 Saw, which comes with 1 100 box mag and an additional mag. This is an LMG that has questionable recoil after a few shots, but it does 19 damage, so even more damage than the C-20. And, I mean, it's a 100-round LMG. It dishes out damage. So the tools, the first one in this one is the Jaws of Life. It just lets you pry open doors. So, like, I don't have access to this door, but with Jaws of Life, after a long do-after bar, you can just pry open any door you want. It takes quite a while, but it doesn't destroy the door, it just opens it. And it's only 2 TC. And you can stick in your backpack. It does weigh 50, though. Next is a Dehydrated Space Carp. And it's exactly that. It's a Dehydrated Space Carp. If you were to spray this with a fire extinguisher, like so, or put water on it, it'll come to life, and it is indiscriminate. It will attack you and others, but you can get quite a lot of them. They're not all that tanky, but they do a fair bit of damage. Next is the Toolbox, which is probably the best buy in the game. It comes with every tool you need in the game. It comes with combat gloves, which are shock resistant, so they're insulated. It comes with a Syndicate shoulder holster, which is a belt that holds 60, and it can hold all your tools that you buy from the toolbox. The only problem is that people can strip you and look at it and be like, oh, you're holding a Syndicate holster, and like use that. It also comes with a Syndicate gas mask, which is a gas mask, and it also keeps you immune to flashbangs. And not even mentioning, the toolbox itself does a whopping 20 blunt damage, which means that a heavy swing from this does 40 blunt damage, and blunt damage is how you give bodies, and You can hide your evidence that way, or make sure people stay dead forever with it. After the toolbox is the surgical duffel bag. Once again, another big duffel bag that gives you a bunch of tools that are basically useless, but like you can get a scalpel or the advanced circular saw, which is a melee weapon that attacks really fast and does a balanced amount of damage of each category, so it's good in almost every situation. And the rest of them are just tools that don't have much of a use right now. And the last item in the tools category is a power sink, which by default will just immediately plant itself on the ground. So you would want a wrench to unanchor it. And once it's unanchored, you can actually pick it up and you can throw it. It has weird physics, but what you want to do with it is you're going to want to anchor it over a high voltage cable. It even says it has a connector for it. And what it'll do is it'll keep draining power from every SMES and substation in that area until it eventually kills power. And once it's done, it will explode. On to the next category, which is utility. There's the shoulder holster, which I just got. It's 1 TC cheaper than the toolbox, so that's its use. It can also hold magazines. Then there's the Syndicate over-ear headset. And all this is a headset that only has access to the Syndicate channel, but other people do buy this. And it lets you talk to the Syndicate securely, but be careful. You never know if a security officer will end up taking one. There is the Agent ID card. The Agent ID card is just your ID, but if you press Z with it in your hand, you can actually name yourself anything and name your job whatever you want. So now if I just replace my ID with it, my ID card is my job is I will kill you. And in the manifest, it doesn't change there because I'm still just a passenger. But it even has its there. I will still be registered as a passenger under my own name, so you can't like fake out saying you're the head of security. But if I were to put on like a mask or something, like the Syndicate gas mask, my name is just back to Hi. And you can change it as many times as you want. But there's also another very useful aspect of the agent card, and that's if, like, say you kill the captain or you just see the captain's ID on the ground, you can literally run by with it in your hand and just left-click it, and now this card is all access. But it doesn't look like a captain's card, but you can open any door in the station and no one will know. Of course, like, security can just check your ID, or, like, they could put it in a computer to see, like, what you stole, but has a ton of use case because of that. Next is the voice changer. It just looks like a normal gas mask. So if you put on the voice changer mask and you press the number 4 key, it'll give you a use. You can set your name. So you could always copy whatever ID you steal to mimic them. So like my name by default is Gabriel Unk. I could just rename myself Tim or something with all caps, whatever. And if I talk, people in chat will see it as Tim. And if I rename my agent ID card, it's a really good combo. My name would be Tim. Problem is though, if you lower the mask, then your identity goes away and the mask doesn't work, and you could get outed for that. On to the next thing, which is a jetpack. Pretty self-explanatory. It doesn't come with any fuel, so you'd have to go get a you have to go fill it up, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You go into space, you turn it on, you fly around. The Hypopen. Remember that Nocturine bottle I talked about earlier? The Hypopen is a smaller hypo spray. It will instantaneously inject any chemical inside, and it can hold up to 15 units. So if you buy a Nocturine bottle with it, which is a very common combo, you just take the bottle or whatever reagent you're trying to put in the pen, and you just walk to somebody. And with Nocturine, you just need 10 units, and it knocks them out for quite a long time, and they can't talk or do anything. And it also, since it's a pen, can be put in your PDA slot. Next thing is the Emag, and the Emag is a very useful item. It has 3 current charges. And what it does is it lets you access any locker or door that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. So for example, I can't open this locker, but if I left click at the Emag, it will open it, and the locker can't ever be locked again. Or I can use it to get into this room, and it makes a very distinct sound like that. And every 90 seconds, you get another charge. You have to keep shift clicking it to see it doesn't count down in real time. And it's small enough to be put into pocket slots. After the Emag is the stealth box. The stealth box is just a box that you could put yourself in, and it makes you very invisible, and you can shift move around with it. But if you move too fast, you start to reveal yourself, and you just become a normal box. And if people see you, it will reveal yourself, and you'll do the big Metal Gear Solid thing, where it's just like the big exclamation points will appear above your head. Like that. Except no one was surprised, so it didn't do it. There you go, paperwork saw me. Up next is the Holoparasite kit. All that comes in it is a hat and the injector. So what you do is you inject yourself with it. It takes a second. But you feel haunted. You get a thing on the bottom left, which lets you summon your Guardian, manifest, but your Guardian has to have a player in it. And what it is, it's a big hollow projected that. And if you take control of it, normally you would be attached to your owner, but it hits very, very hard. It can shatter windows and stuff instantly. It's very, very fast, but it can't heavy swing, so you have to be pretty precise with your clicks. But you basically just help your owner out. And then after that, you got the Syndicate Reinforcement, which is the last utility. And what you do is you just put it down, and I don't know if you have to press Z to use it. I could find out right now. I'll buy another one. But if you are in the ghost rolls, yeah, you don't have to press C. So, you just request to take it. It's a ghost roll. Normal Syndicate antagonist rules applies. Work with whoever calls you in. You spawn as a Syndicate agent with a combat knife in your boots and a pistol in your backpack and a pinpointer. And it is your job to just listen to whoever called you in. And after utility, there is implants. The two implants right now that you can buy is a Freedom Implanter and a Storage Implanter. The Freedom Implanter makes it so if you get handcuffed, you just press this button, and it'll instantly snap the cuffs off of you and makes them disappear. And the Storage Implanter gives you this bag on the left, which is a 20 storage slot implant that no one can see. So you can stick whatever you want in it that you can fit. So you can put an Emag in there, and it costs 20 TC total to do that. But you can have a pretty much infinite door hack, and if anyone ever searches you, they won't have any proof that you have Syndicate items on you unless they purposely try to remove the implant. But if you don't give them a reason to, they're not going to. Anyway, onto armor. There is a few pieces of armor that have different use. There is the Syndicate EVA Bundle. In this bundle, all there is the Syndicate suit and the helmet. And that lets you be EVA ready. And a benefit of this is that the EVA bundle actually only slows your speed by 20%, which is actually rather good for an EVA suit. There's a Blood Red Magboots, which are functionally the same as normal Magboots. They will decrease your running speed when you're activated, but you can't slip with them, and you're magnetically held in place regardless of gravity. There's the no-slip shoes, which makes it so, as you can imagine, you don't slip. You can run over anything and will not slip. There is the web vest, which is just a very, very good piece of armor that gives you 70% pierce, 40% slash, blunt, and not very much heat. But it makes you very tanky, but it gives you a little bit of storage, but it's an enemy piece of armor, so it kind of makes you obvious. But it's not as obvious as, like, the blood red Hardsuit. Thieving Gloves are just normal black-looking gloves, but the problem is the description just tells you that they can steal, so security will be able to tell that you have something you shouldn't. But if you try to steal something with this, it basically just steals faster, is its main benefit. So, like, I don't know, it's the same I'm stealing from a boxer. Like, you could take their gloves off a decent bit faster, and that's an item in their hand. So that's the use of the Thieving Gloves. The Chameleon Kit comes with full of items that, with Chameleon technology, allow you to disguise into anything on the station. So basically, it comes with a full set of clothes that you can put on. So I'll just put on everything. So what you can do on any of the pieces of clothing, you can right-click them and turn it into whatever you want. That's in the list, of course. So, like, you can do some rather interesting looks with this. You can even pretend you're, like, a Death Squad member or whatnot. You can get some very, very interesting looks, and it's up to you to be as creative as you really can be with this. Next on armor is the Syndicate Hardsuit. This is the classic blood red. The only thing that's in it is the blood red. And you move full speed with it. It is extremely tanky to damage, but not even as tanky as the web vest. But it also comes with a helmet, which helps even out the odds. And it is EVA capable. And last in the armor list, and last thing I will cover, is the Jug Suit. The Jug Suit makes you very slow, reduces your speed by 40, but it makes you borderline invincible to almost all forms of damage. But you're practically guaranteed to get stunned using this, and you can't even afford the Freedom Implant. The only reason I'm not going through the pointless stuff is because, well, it really is pointless. It's just stuff to look cool, to roleplay with, or maybe cause some confusion, but they're not items you're going to really want to purchase. And, yeah, cat ears. Very long video, I know, but I wanted to cover every item, and it's possible. I didn't cover every use case, but there's a lot of items. Some of them are somewhat confusing of how to use, and yeah, it's been a while, but I hope if you got this far, it helps.